weekend, because I think, and we know Ottawa's going to start scoring more. They're going to have things really start to come together. But I think I've got that one, and I can't wait to go and call the game.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. And yeah, definitely next week, I'm excited to hear on this show about what it was like to see him in person. And hopefully that Black Bears offense can be clicking at a higher rate.
And not to write off a Calgary team that's got,
Yep.
Curtis Dixon and Jesse King and Eli Salama and a rising Bennett Smith. A lot of things going on there. So it's not like we're thinking it's going to be an easy game, but I think we both land on Ottawa for this home game. So let's look at Vancouver and Halifax. And this is one, and I haven't really done my picks. It's funny, we talked before about process. You like to pick it as we're here. I tend to do way more ahead, like who's going to do it, and I overthink it to a ridiculous amount and still flop sometimes. So I'm going to be deciding today as we're here. Mostly, I have looked through quickly. I'm going to go Vancouver because I just really like the way they're playing. I think, Aiden Walsh has been terrific. I think he gives them probably an edge in net in this game, even though Halifax has a bit more experience there. And I just think the defense is so good. Like, you watch them and they're so good. And then Adam Charlambides is just taking off. You've got Kevin Crowley playing effectively. So much good happening for the Warriors.
Yeah, I think that this is a year, and I was thinking about it all week long, actually, where, we talk about, we went through our awards, but something that we haven't talked about, which is, I guess, hard to kind of break down a little bit, but the executive of the year, and you got to give it to someone, in my opinion, from Vancouver this season, not only with the pieces that they brought in from the coaching staff to the players and all that, but you see, and I had tweeted about it, the attendance on the rise and hitting highs for since the team has moved back to Vancouver. Very exciting what has been built there. So I think that, it's an incredibly exciting time for Vancouver lacrosse. And you're seeing that with the Vancouver Warriors. Molosky really stepping up and into that role. I'm going to go Vancouver too.
Well, you have to now because Greg already slid you over.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I guess it was sounding
It would
like
have
that
been
was
very surprising to me if you changed your mind after that whole long speech, and I'm now ready to pick Molosky as GM of the year. You had me convinced. So if you had changed your mind, I'd have been completely out of it.
Yeah, also, when you think about GM of the year, look at the amount of rookies that have really stepped up for the Warriors in that case. So it's been great. I'm going with the Warriors. And,
it's funny. Everyone talked about Kurt Molosky as a coach coming to Vancouver and what a difference he would make. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. He's a great coach. I thought right from the start, he made even more impact as a GM, just pulling that team together. That was such an upgrade for them. And I think it was, giving him that control because they had a good coach in Troy Cordingley. He's a great all-time coach in the league. But I think Molosky came in and was able to say, I want to build my team the way I want it. And that made a huge difference.
Yeah.
So let's go to Saturday. We'll start with Albany at Buffalo. And I'm not saying I'm jumping off the Albany train because I was a big believer going into the season, but they are really struggling, I think, with, Colton Watkinson, Ryan Wagner, and
John
Justin Nishimura. Jackson
Nishimura and John Wagner.
John Wagner. Yeah. Sorry. So all those guys out, they're having a tough time. And I'm not picking Buffalo to lose until they lose. So this is an easy pick for me.
Yeah. I mean, if it were any other team than the Buffalo Bandits, you might think a little bit differently about this one, but Buffalo at home on a Tucker Out Lymphoma Cup game. With the emotion surrounding that. Obviously, it's going to be an incredibly emotional game for Dyson and his family who will be in attendance for that one. And also just, as I know we're both picking Buffalo, but, and things are not going great for Albany, but we do have to talk about Dyson Williams having his best game last weekend, three goals, 3 assists, and really giving Brendan O'Neill and Adam Poitras a run for their money in terms of that Rookie of the Year conversation. So
he's right there. I think he's going to keep ascending.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what happens. And if he can have a big game against the Buffalo Bandits, and whether they win or they don't, but he keeps them in that one, I think it's going to raise a lot of eyebrows, and people are going to be like, "Oh, okay, that's the Dyson Williams we were expecting."
Yeah. Since you just mentioned Brendan O'Neill, let's slide to the right.
Let's do it.
Do Rochester at Philadelphia, and you can go first.
Yeah, so for me, and this is a game I am going to be at as long as Preston is healthy enough and think he doesn't need help around the house, and I'm feeling healthy. So excited to be at a lot of variables there.
Yeah.
But
we all hope you make it.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Philadelphia. I think that they're incredibly exciting right now. We talk about goaltenders. We haven't really seen the best out of Nick Demude yet. Is this the time against a really high volume shooting team like the Nighthawks? I believe they have the most shots per game in the league. Is this the game where he really shuts them down? Rochester has been struggling offensively of late. That might help him out. It obviously is going to help the Wings, who on the other side are so strong offensively. And I think that with that home game going on there, they are one of only 3 teams left, I believe, that have a undefeated home record. Vancouver and Buffalo being the other two. I think things are looking up for Philly right now. I'm going the Wings.
Love a couple of Levi nuggets dropping in there. That was great. I think this is a really hard pick. Last week I noticed I picked all the teams with the lower records, with the worst winning percentages, which worked out. Hey, there were the teams I just thought were going to win that week based on how everything was going. But I thought that was a little odd when I realized it. Also, by the way, when I said, and you can pick first, it sounded so like, you go ahead. I didn't mean it like that at all. I meant,
I didn't take it that way.
But yeah, I think Philly's got a lot going on. I think Rochester's much better than their record indicates, but I also think their record might get a bit worse this weekend because I've got to go with Philly.
Yeah, and again, man, I know I on so many different avenues I've spoken about Hutchcraft. If things had just hold on at the end there, we would be having such a different conversation, not only about him, but about this team, and it'll be interesting. Hartley had been moved up from doubtful to questionable before the last game.
Okay.
What is that going to be this week, and how much longer is he going to be out? But kudos to Hutchcraft. He's really stepped up, faced the most shots in the NLL so far this season.
One note to any of the Rochester fans I do see in their discussions, people saying, "Oh, we need Hartley back. We need to get a goalie." This and that. No, you have a goalie, and don't blame Riley Hutchcraft for those late goals. I think giving Zed Williams a naked look in the slot is a bit more of an issue than Riley Hutchcraft not stopping Zed Williams' naked look in the slot.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really good decision. You would expect it from a great coach like Pat Coyle to get that extra man on the floor for that final possession to really kind of make things difficult for that Rochester defense. But yeah, I agree. I think I had tweeted out as well that, he has earned his spot as a number 1 goaltender, and it's definitely going to be an interesting decision as things go forward there.
Georgia is in Vegas. Vegas, a huge win in their last home game against San Diego and their first sellout. You've mentioned attendance a couple times. I think that's really exciting. That things at Lee's Family Forum, right? That they're playing at in Henderson. I think that's really exciting. Some great stuff happening with the organization as a whole. The win against San Diego, really good. They've got some play. I mean, Adam Poitras, we've talked about. Justin Getty had a really good game for them, and he and Landon Kells are in a real battle. And it's interesting because they've actually faced each other back in World Juniors, the IIJL World Juniors. And, I've been watching the two of them kind of develop. And I'm a huge Kells guy because I see some of the things he's done, but I think Justin Getty can be very good as well. I think you've got a real goalie battle going on there, but I'm going to take Georgia because I just think they're further along the process, obviously, of moving and fighting towards a championship.
They are for sure, but I like what I saw out of Drew Belgrave in his first appearance with the Las Vegas Desert Dogs last
Great
week.
addition.
Yeah, and I think that's what you need. Justin Getty was great in between the pipes, and I think you're right that there's a good goaltending discussion there. But Jack Hanna, man, he is one of the best shows in the National Lacrosse League right now, and he's got the character and charisma to boot, which really makes him one of the shining stars in the National Lacrosse League right now. I'm gonna go Desert Dogs on this one. I like what I've seen from them winning 2 of their last 3. Can they keep it going? I think that this is again a Tucker out lymphoma game with Coach Sean Williams there, obviously, and thank you to the Georgia Swarm for participating in this. I know this is the only one that they're participating in terms of the Tucker Lymphoma Out Cup. But I think especially on that night, now that I add that extra factor in, I think just as they did in Albany for Coach Williams, I think the Desert Dogs pulled this one out.
Nice. Toronto's cheering for Georgia because they have Las Vegas's first round pick.
Okay, there you go.
So that's the second of the 2 picks from the Rob Hellier trade. So, they will be cheering for Georgia. We're not cheering for anybody, but I'm picking Georgia and you're picking Las Vegas. And we go to our final game in San Diego. The Rush are traveling in. And Adam, why don't you go first?
Oh, well, we've got Toronto and
We should probably do Toronto and Colorado actually as well.
yeah. But yeah, so which one do you want to do first? Should we do Toronto?
Let's go Toronto, Colorado.
All right,
we'll do it like a little snake.
Yeah. So man, this is going to be a very interesting one. I think this could be the game of the week. The way that the Rock are looking right now. I know in my power rankings, which I'm just doing for fun on my own, I actually shot them up into 8th place after their win, and I know that Paul Tutka and Laxbag did the same thing. It's definitely interesting to see how things have really turned for them. Obviously, they're now so healthy. Mark Matthews out, which is incredibly unfortunate, but the amount that he can help that team, even without being on the floor, is immeasurable. So, oh boy, you know what? My gut, I'm just gonna say Toronto, but I mean, this is really a toss-up for me because I think that Colorado has looked great. They've shown that grit and determination to come back. Pat Coyle, such a gritty, smart coach, and it's going to be so interesting. And then it's in the Loud House, right? So I think that
they love playing there.
Yeah, it's a toss up, but just give me Toronto. No, let's switch it over. Give me Colorado.
Wow, the flip flop.
The flip flop. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you really, there's a couple of places in this league where the home crowd really helps you, and I can't bet against the Loud House, right?
Have they won all their games at the Loud House this year?
I don't think so, no. But that doesn't,
that was a rhetorical question.
Even as a numbers guy, I'm gonna throw the numbers aside and go with him.
That's amazing. You dropped the Levy's Nuggets earlier.
Yeah.
So I knew that they hadn't. I really like Colorado. I'm a big fan of Pat Coyle, of Dylan Ward, Robert Hope, Warren Jeffrey, Will Malcolm. It goes on and on. I really like them. Hey, easy there, easy. I see you sliding my name around, Greg. But at the beginning of the season, I thought Toronto was going to be up around the top team in the league. I think they're getting to that. I think even without Mark Matthews, the offense is starting to click because Tom Schreiber is back and they are working. Josh Dawick is really fitting nicely into the role that he knew was going to be coming when Schreiber came. He is still such an important part of that. I think a lot of good things happening. They've got healthy on D again, like you said. I'm riding the Rock for now. And especially because you picked Toronto and then flopped, and that never goes well. It happened to me earlier in the season when I took Rochester when nobody thought Rochester was going to win, and then I got off them. So I'm going to take Toronto, maybe just because you picked them and then didn't, because I think that's
I hope my trend of flipping the flop is working, and it pays off. The flipping the flop is the new term. But yeah, and I also just wanted to give a shout out to Brian Cameron, another American rookie who's been very great for them and stepping up. So I mean, this is really, I would say that this is going to be the game of the week.
And Elijah Gash, there's another young American player who's really come on.
And actually, just quickly, it's very interesting because there was a time I'm blanking on the exact play, but there was a time last week that things got scrappy in the Toronto Calgary game, and Gash came in as kind of an enforcer to break things up, and you could see, I forget who the Calgary player was at the time, but he clinched Gash as to be like, okay, you're not going to get in a fight with me. I'm just going to hold you as tight as I can and make sure that nothing gets out of hand here. But
100%, that was amazing. I remember the play because he was fighting with somebody else, and Gash came in, and as soon as he did, he tried to put him in his guard. It was like he was a jiu-jitsu guy. He's like, get in here.
What was the one? There was the one play last weekend where something was building up. There's a bit of a scuffle, and one guy went and it was so funny. One guy from one team went and put his arm around somebody from another team and kind of held him and grabbed another guy from another team. And they're just all there. He's like, hey, having a chat. It was so friendly. I thought it was friendly and and they're just chatting away. And I thought, that is wonderful.
I believe that was the one Justin Martin was involved in.
Really have any animosity.
That was a little scrap Justin Martin was involved in. I think he's too nice of a guy to really get carried away. So he just kind of put his hands out on each side and was like, all right, guys.
Actually, I couldn't remember the one. There might have been another one, but yeah. So we are divided. How are we doing so far? We're both on Vancouver. We're both on Ottawa. We're both on Buffalo. We're both on Philly. So it's nice that we've got some different picks in the desert and in the Loud House. Where will we land in San Diego? We'll be getting to that right after the break. No, I'm kidding. We're going to go right now. But we were trying to build up some suspense here. Adam Levy, you have the first pick, I think, or no, you picked first. You want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. All right. San Diego hardly ever gets below 500, right? Are they going to go another game below 500? It seems unlikely. They've got a roster that's really built, but I went against Saskatchewan last week, and I thought before the season they were going to be very good. I don't know that they're going to finish at whatever. What are they? 5-2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they keep that winning percentage the whole season. That would be 10-4, and then 4 more games. That'd be like 13 wins. I don't know if they win 13 games, but I think they are very good. I think they have a goaltending controversy. Who's good at the goalie? Now you go back to Chiliano, obviously, but I mean, they certainly feel pretty good about Thomas Kaisak moving forward. They've got a lot happening. I'm going to go with Saskatchewan this week.
Yeah, and I believe I'm just trying to look over the numbers here to provide our viewers and listeners with more Levy nuggets. This would be the first time since the San Diego inaugural season that they would be multiple games under 500. So definitely does not happen often and has not happened in a handful of years. So it would be unprecedented almost to speak, but
so the question is, does Levy, the numbers guy, go against the numbers? San Diego doesn't go below 500.
Again, and I don't know what it is. Maybe there was something in the water this morning that I was drinking, but I am going to go against the numbers, and I'm going to go with my gut and say the Saskatchewan Rush win this one and move to 6-2. I think that it always comes down to I love the numbers and I will always rely on them, but I need to be consistent. I always need to deliver, and I have over and over again said Saskatchewan and Colorado have been those improved teams that I've been impressed with, and I'm going to keep riding that until they let me down. And so far, they haven't really let me down too much. So I'm going to say Saskatchewan in this one. Although I hope a great crowd shows up in San Diego. It'll be nice. They've had some pretty decent, exciting crowds for that one. It seems like the Rush could hopefully, when they get their next couple home games, as the weather starts to warm up, they get that kind of percentage of crowd back like we used to see back in the day. But I'm going Saskatchewan.
Okay, so we will see how things run with a few different picks. We've got a couple of games that are different, but we're mostly on board. We're going to check with the municipal water system in New York and see what has gotten into the water to make Adam Levy, the numbers guy, go against the numbers. But I mean, I think you gave a pretty good explanation of it there, but we're going to check. We're just going to check the water, make sure that they're not messing with you, because everyone wants to take Levy down now. You're at the top of the heap, man. They're coming for you.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's exciting when I shake things up a little bit. I think it keeps everybody on their toes. I had had someone say to me recently that numbers can dumb things down a little bit. So it's nice to kind of do something a little different.
I think that's about it. I think we're going to wrap up right there because we've been going for a while. Great show. Thanks. I just wanted to say thanks to Greg Beecher for suggesting this and for making it happen and for doing all the hard work behind the scenes. We do our prep and we come on and talk, and then you go off and do whatever it is you do that makes everything go great. And so check us out on Blue Squatch YouTube. We'll be appearing on Inside Lacrosse every week as well, so you can get to the embed there. And I think it's been a great show, and it's so much fun to do every week. And it's funny because I find it helps to kind of focus where we're thinking, because we both do so much with the National Lacrosse League. I think it helps to guide, like, focus and narrow things in, like what we're doing for this and our other trajectories, our other trails that we follow in the league as well.
100%. And yeah, Greg, this is an incredible thing that you push Stamper and I to say, hey, I think we could do this weekly. And I think it's great. I knew that we both had it in us, and we've done our podcasts and other things on a weekly basis before, but in a video format as well. And the work that you put in, it's awesome. I think this is really cool. And thank you also to Inside Lacrosse, of course, who Stamper and I both work for picking this up as well and sharing it on that platform. And I hope wherever you're watching this or checking this out that you're enjoying the show as much as we are.
Absolutely. And thank you guys so much for doing it. I really appreciate it. We did have one question, though. Who do you guys think Vegas is going to start? I mean, do you think they go with Getty? I mean, we didn't really get a clear answer. You kind of talked about the problem, but that was our viewer question of the week, I'll say.
Adam?
I think that they're going to go to Kells. I think that, I think that he is their number one. I don't think that necessarily changes based on the last game. I just think simply out of that, unless he's, going to have another really, subpar performance for him where things aren't going well, I think that they stick with their number one guy.
I think you can tell from my reaction that I think they ride the hot hand. I'm a huge Kells fan. I think he's still got a great long-term future, but right now, I think if I'm coaching that team and I feel that way about Justin Kells, I'm going with Landon Kells, sorry. Landon Getty and Justin Kells. But I am a big Kells fan, but I'm going with Justin Getty after what he did last week. And I'm riding that hot hand and try to get that 3 wins in 4 games that they've never had before.
Yeah, and I have to say, Landon Getty would be an incredible name. Let's get a lacrosse player named Landon Getty. Yeah.
I love it. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in this week. But these really complement. Make sure you go to IL Indoor, read the articles, the 3 up, 3 down, the musings, the 5 things we learned, and you can also comment on the bottom of that, and that'll give us some ideas for what you guys want us to talk about. So don't be afraid to sign into IL Indoor and comment. I seem to be one of the main commenters on the bottom. I'm hoping we're going to start something here because I'd like to. My favorite part about reading the article is usually I get to talk with you guys after. So I'm like, well, you said this. Is this really what you meant, or did I not understand it? So I really do appreciate it and hope everybody goes there and kind of compliments this show.
I feel like we need to have a group hug after all this.
Virtual group hug, guys.
Yay.
Adam, you didn't,
there we go. Now I feel better.
That's a good one. Hey.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll do it again next week. Thank you.